parties, they were regarded as being very dangerous by the present authority. There, we're going to talk about Mr. Mandela. You'll be able to see Mr. Mandela survey in B. We have many other sections around. If you go through the door, the other side of the wall, there is another section, section G. Also 4 big communal cells inside. We used to call it old man section, because majority of the prisoners locked in there are those who were here in the 60s and the 70s doing long sentence, some even life in prison. You go further up, we have the kitchen. Prisoners working there, they'll stay there, sleep there in the kitchen. Not far from the kitchen is E section, the same like this one here. F, young men in the 2 section. There's another one here at the back of F, D. Prisoners locked in D are those from Southwest Africa, which today we call it Namibia. Those of SWAPO, Southwest African People's Organization, that was led by Mr. Sam Nujoma, they were locked in there. You go further down, we have C section. They use it for solitary confinement if they punish you. We have A section. It has small cells inside, like our leader section. The hospital and the administration offices down there. I came here in 1983 from the harbor down there. I was escorted inside into the main entrance of the prison, and I was given a new uniform. We used to wear the green ones with brown shoes. I was taken inside. I stayed in E section. From E to this one here, F, later taken to G, the old man section. I didn't stay long there. I just stayed for 3 months. I was then tasked to go and work in the kitchen to help those cooking there. I was arrested in 1982. It was between the borders of Botswana and South Africa. Some of you will remember the ANC, the African National Congress. It's a party also that Mr. Mandela belonged to. The party had its own army, its own military wing. And that military wing was called Umkhonto Wesizwe. Umkhonto Wesizwe, it means the spear of the nation, Lerumo la Setjhaba. We were involved in guerrilla warfare in this country. And that's how we wage war against apartheid system. Mr. Mandela, he was the first commander-in-chief of that military wing. He is the founder of that military wing. It was formed in 1961 on the 16th of December. In 1980, I started making contact with the ANC, starting to know more about the ANC with those combatants based in Botswana. I was in and out of Botswana working for my organization. But our structures were infiltrated. There were police spies within our structures. The security police inside the country, they will recruit young men and women in our country. They will train them. They will tell them to go out there to join the ANC, becoming police spies, police informers. When they arrested me, they knew everything about me. What we discussed in our meetings and what we plan to do in this country, that all the information, they told me everything. They tortured me in several police stations around the country. Firstly, I was tortured in Zeerust. From Zeerust, then Tabazimbi. Lastly, it was in Protea police station. It's in Soweto, near Johannesburg. They wanted the weapons. There in Protea, I met Lieutenant Rolip. Many of those, I was with them in Robanane, they know the lieutenant. He tortured many of us. They had many ways of torturing a person. I was put on the chair. I was naked on the chair. My hands fastened to my feet also. You can't move. You sit tight on the chair. It's an electric chair. They switch it on. I told them everything. I went out there and showed them the weapons. I was later charged. I was charged with high treason and sabotage, taken to the courts. I was represented by a lady called Priscilla Jana as my lawyer. And they sentenced me for 7 years in Robben Island. I came here in 1983, released in 1990. I've done all my 7 years. For 2 years, I was in E, F, and G. 5 years in the kitchen, cooking up there. That is how I arrived in this prison. Now, the food in the 80s when I was here, our breakfast, you get a soft porridge, 2 slices of bread, tea or coffee. Lunch, it has been one thing, it have never changed. You get a small cup of soup and 2 slices of bread every day. Your supper, your dinner, you get your samp or meal rice. The meal rice, you can clean it, but when you chew it, you'll feel those small stones. They'll always be there. Vegetables only introduced in 1980. If it's not cabbage, it will be carrot. Meat, lot of bones. Many hunger strikes that we went through. Some of our demands was to get better meat, not bones. When we are inside here, I'm going to show you a dice scale, how prisoners were given food in the 60s and the early 70s. The food wasn't the same amongst prisoners themselves. We'll talk about it inside here. There's our sport field over there. We play sport every Saturday. All sections will meet. Only on Saturday they will meet. They play sport, rugby and soccer. This other side, it was tennis courts. We also played volleyball in this prison. Not with leaders. Leaders always locked in their section. They were not allowed to come and join us this side. Let's go inside. Let's sit and talk more about this prison.